My name is Natalie. I'm 17 and a senior at Los Gatos High School. From the outside, LG is idyllic. Perfect teens and perfect clothes from perfect families. And don't forget the money. But like most seemingly perfect things, you just can't see the cracks. Yet. Los Gatos, California. 33rd wealthiest town in California, and in the same county as some of America's wealthiest towns, like Los Altos and Lexington Hills. Los Gatos High School itself is ranked highly among others in the Bay Area of STEM curriculum and college preparedness, and holds a 97% graduation rate. As a tech hub with a median household income of around $140,000, Los Gatos should be a virtual paradise. Right? On June 29th, 2020, Mia Lozoya posted to her Instagram the story of her sexual assault. The post read, "I'm not sharing this post for sympathy, but to be heard. Earlier this year, on February 8th, I was raped." She was a freshman at the time. In her post, Mia included the hashtag #MeToo. In 2006, Tanara Burke used the hashtag #MeToo for the first time on MySpace. An activist and survivor of sexual assault, Burke's goal was to give women a chance to communicate their stories. Over the years, the hashtag #MeToo has gone viral. In 2017, Harvey Weinstein was accused of sexual assault. The hashtag was reintroduced as a way for his victims to come forward. Today, it's used by many sexual assault survivors to communicate their stories.
I saw Mia's post and I ended up posting my own kind of version of my story.
After Mia shared her post, it inspired a couple of other girls to come forward and post their stories about their experiences with sexual assault.
Abby Berry, who I'm sure you've talked to and know, who's kind of the gal pushing this whole thing together. She had posted a response to Mia's story, and that's what I saw. And I reached out just saying, hey, I love what you're doing. I love this message that you're spreading. If there's anything I can do to help or be a part of it, please let me know.
These are the founders of the Instagram pages MeToo LGHS and From Survivors for Survivors. Mia's story inspired other students to come forward with their stories, leading to the creation of the group.
I shared my story on Instagram and it kind of started everything. And then Abby Berry reached out to me and she wrote the email and everything that kind of got this whole movement loud. And then from that, we started planning she texted me and was like, would you be interested in doing a kind of Me Too march? And I was that's something that I've always thought of, since sharing. I came out with my own story and these girls DM'd me and they were saying, I want to post my story, but I'm scared I want to make it anonymous. So they asked me, is there somewhere I could do that? I didn't know about anything, so I said, you know what, I'm going to make an account and post it there. And I didn't expect it to actually get I didn't even know if the girls were going to use it, but then, I had one post and then there was two, and then 2-3 months in and we're at 192?
Following the deluge of stories being posted, it was clear that LG's secret was out in the open, and there was no turning back. There are countless other stories along the same lines on their page. However, not everyone has seen this movement as a force for good.
I have, there definitely has been backlash. I would say all 10 members of the team and supporters of the team have received some form of backlash. I have been very fortunate that I have not received death threats like some of the team.
I've gotten a lot of very harsh comments. There's one that definitely set me off. It was a very triggering comment, I guess. There was this one account who sent me this message basically saying, like, how do you think anyone's ever gonna love you? You're damaged goods, you're broken, you've been used, like you are dirty and disgusting and unlovable.
There have been certain members of the LGHS community that have floored their cars, made comments in public, things like that.
I've had several moms make comments to my mom about me and what I've been doing. My dad has heard some things as well. My uncle surprisingly heard something about me, which I found very interesting because he's not really even in this community. But I think in general, it's mostly just sort of been whispers, which for me is even more frustrating than if someone were to say something to my face, because then I can address it there, and I would love for you to, direct your backlash at me in person, because then we can have a conversation about it.
I've received comments on my Instagram that are less than friendly, denying that men can be or maybe survivors isn't the right word, but denying that I could have been on the receiving end of some form of harassment or unwanted advance. Saying, oh, well, we wanted a male voice on the team, but, it doesn't count because he's gay, and which is really stupid.
There's been vandalism of people's personal property.
I've lost a lot of friends from it, surprisingly. They don't want to associate themselves with me, which was what I said in my speech and in my Instagram that I was worried about. A lot of this isn't about football, but a lot of the guys who play football who had been in my life forever aren't allowed to talk to me anymore, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, I've just lost a lot of people. People will make jokes about it more.
In terms of death threats, which is obviously even more serious, there have been comments made from many different members, or I shouldn't say many, but people from all different walks of life from the LG community who have said things like, you belong under the wheel of my car.
I think it's definitely been poor Abby, man. Her name and face have been out there really the most, along with Mia's, and she has gotten angry calls from moms, from other community members, angry Facebook messages, really just things that I think really hit her hard. That they were very upsetting for her, and I would have been in the same position. They were very upsetting emails and messages and calls that she was receiving. We were getting threats in terms of people saying that they were going to do things at the event. We were really having to take everything into account in terms of we are not going to let people scare us away from doing this, because we feel it's really important to speak up.
There's a football player who has been openly supporting, he used to play on our team, has been openly supporting the movement, and he has received a lot of, more than I at least think should ever happen from players.
Whenever I walk around town, I always have my phone in my pocket, and I have the record button ready just in case I encounter some unfriendly characters. If
you're just gossiping about it, which I think is a very immature way to handle things, but this town really loves to do, then you're never going to get any farther. You're never going to get any resolution, anything.
The group's main issue is with the school's policies regarding sexual assault. Specifically, the vague language in the school's code of conduct and the omission of anything related to sexual assault in the school sports contract. They have since petitioned the school and sent a list of changes they would like to see in the school's code of conduct, along with policies regarding the treatment of sexual assault victims and perpetrators. The group also takes issue with the school's new principal, Paul Robinson. This summer, Robinson took the job of interim principal at Los Gatos.
I'm not a fan. I'm really not.
You know, I tried to keep an open mind at first. I had actually not heard of him when he first came here. When I learned about the details of the Audrey Pot case, I was kind of disturbed.
Frankly, not a fan. Doesn't get my vote.
Reading, what he said to the Mercury News about Aubrey Pot was just like, that's disgraceful.
He publicly denied that she was bullied or harassed, which was really frustrating for her family. And he then, after the boys who confessed and admitted to assaulting Audrey and sharing child pornography, after they were sentenced, which was like a 30-day probation to be served on weekends, pathetic sentence, he allowed them to come back to school, and they went on and graduated and got a life when she didn't.
In response, the group posted to Instagram. This was the principal at Saratoga when Audrey Pot died. He lied to the San Jose Mercury News and told them her suicide had nothing to do with the bullying following her assault. He is now the principal of Los Gatos High School. Our community should be outraged.
I really just hope for change.
Similar to how Black Lives Matter is not an anti-white movement, I want people to know from the mouth of an 18-year-old man, this is not an anti-male movement. This is not an anti-LGHS movement. This is not against anybody. This is for everybody.
While the school has been less than welcoming to these proposed changes, the group continues to create a space for all survivors, regardless of the backlash and animosity they face. It doesn't matter if you have money or affluence. If these things are allowed to happen, they will. This happened because we as a community were too afraid to talk about this. We were afraid of what it meant if it was real.